Opening. Have you ever sat down to study or to finally get some work done, and within just 5 minutes, you find yourself scrolling your phone, daydreaming, or suddenly deciding that now is the perfect time for a snack? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. We live in a world full of distractions, notifications, endless tabs, buzzing thoughts. And the worst part? Even when we finally force ourselves to focus, our mind still wanders, and our productivity feels half baked at best. But here's the bold truth. What if I told you there's a simple 5 minute practice that can literally double focus? And it's not hype, it's science. I'm not talking about coffee, not energy drinks, not downloading yet another productivity app. This is about something far more powerful: training your brain in small, micro moments to switch into deep focus on demand. Because focus isn't just about willpower, it's a skill. And just like a muscle, you can strengthen it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this 5 minute practice works, why it's so effective, and how you can start using it today, whether you're studying for an exam, working on a big project, or simply trying to stop procrastinating. And trust me, once you try it, you'll never see focus the same way again. Why focus feels hard? Let's be honest, focus feels harder than ever, and it's not because you're lazy or because you just don't have enough willpower. The truth is, your brain is wired for distraction. From the very beginning of human history, our survival depended on it. Imagine your ancestors sitting by the fire. If they zoned in too deeply on carving a tool and ignored the rustle in the bushes, they might not survive the night. So the brain evolved to constantly scan for novelty, for change, for what's new. Fast forward to today, and that same ancient wiring is now working against us. Because instead of the rustle in the bushes, we have buzzing notifications, email pings, endless browser tabs, and a phone in our pocket with an infinite supply of novelty, all competing for our attention every single second. And here's the real trap. Most people think focus is all about willpower. They sit down, grit their teeth, and say, I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm going to concentrate this time. But 10 minutes later, they're scrolling anyway. Why? Because focus isn't about forcing yourself. It's about setting the right conditions. Your environment, your routines, even the way you start your work session, these matter more than sheer determination. Think about this. Have you ever tried to read a book, but every few minutes your phone buzzed on the table next to you? Even if you didn't pick it up, a part of your mind was already split, wondering, who messaged me? Did I just get a notification? So instead of being absorbed in the book, your attention was constantly fragmented. That's the world we live in now. And until we learn how to take control back, our brain will keep jumping to the next shiny thing. But here's the good news. You can train your mind to focus, not by fighting distraction with brute force, but by using a simple 5 minute practice that aligns with how your brain actually works. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you next: the science of attention. So let's pause for a moment and really look at what's happening inside our brain when we talk about focus. Attention is not unlimited. It's not something you can just turn on endlessly. In fact, scientists describe attention as a limited resource, almost like a muscle. Think about it this way. When you lift weights, your muscles eventually get tired. The same thing happens with attention. Every decision you make, every notification you check, every thought you chase, it all drains that limited supply. But here's something fascinating. When the brain isn't actively focused, it slips into what neuroscientists call the default mode network. That's the system responsible for daydreaming, replaying the past, worrying about the future. It's why you can sit down with a book and suddenly realize your eyes have moved across 3 pages, but your mind is somewhere else entirely. Sound familiar? That's not laziness. It's biology. Our brain is wired to wander. It's scanning, drifting, connecting random dots, sometimes useful, sometimes distracting. But here's the powerful truth. Just like you can train your muscles in the gym, you can train your brain to focus. This is where neuroplasticity comes in, the brain's incredible ability to rewire itself. Every time you practice bringing your attention back, whether during reading, meditation, or even deep work, you're strengthening those neural pathways. It's like laying down a stronger road. At first, it feels rocky and unstable, but over time, the path becomes clearer, smoother, and much easier to travel. And here's the key principle most people overlook. Focus isn't about grinding for hours on end. It's about short, intentional practices that build long term strength. 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, and suddenly, weeks later, you've built a brain that can stay steady in a world of chaos. That's the science. Your attention is a muscle. It gets tired, it gets distracted, but it can also be trained. And that's exactly what we're going to unlock in the next part of this video. The 5-minute trick revealed. Imagine this. You sit down at your desk with a huge, scary task in front of you, an essay, a chapter, a problem set. Your chest tightens, your brain already plans excuses. Now imagine promising yourself just 5 minutes of absolute focus. That tiny promise changes everything. This is the 5-minute trick. Simple, practical, scientific. And in the next 8 minutes, I'll walk you through it step by step so you can use it the moment the video ends. Step 1. Set a 5-minute timer. First, set a timer for 5 minutes. Physically set it. Phone timer, kitchen timer, an app, whatever works. Say to yourself out loud, I'll give this 5 minutes, 100% focus, no interruptions. Make that tiny commitment. That's all. 5 minutes. No pressure beyond the timer. Why 5 minutes? Because 5 minutes is short enough that your brain accepts it. It doesn't trigger the resistance that I have to work for 3 hours does. It's a micro promise you can keep, and keeping it builds trust with yourself. Practical note, put notifications on Do Not Disturb. Place your phone face down or in another room. The fewer micro temptations, the cleaner the test. Step 2, single task commitment. Now pick one concrete task. Not study chemistry, that's vague and overwhelming. Pick read pages 42 to 45 and summarize 2 main ideas. Or write the introduction paragraph. Or solve problem number 3. Vague goals lead to wandering attention. Specific goals give your brain a clear endpoint. When the timer starts, you know exactly what success looks like. Quick tip, write the small goal on a sticky note and place it where you can see it. The visual cue anchors your mind. Step 3, active engagement. During the 5 minutes, actively engage. Don't passively scroll or skim. Use your senses. Read out loud for a paragraph. Underline or write one short note. Speak a sentence to yourself describing the idea. If you're solving a problem, write each step on paper. Don't just think it. Why? Because active engagement, speaking, writing, moving, prevents autopilot. It forces your brain to process the material, not just register it. That processing is what creates focus and makes the minutes count. Examples, writing task, type the first 100 words or handwrite a brainstorming list. Reading task, read one section, then close the book and say the main point aloud. Math code, write out the first step and solve it on paper. Active engagement creates tiny feedback loops. You do, you see, you correct. Those loops are gold for focus. Step 4, mindful reset. Your mind will wander. Perfectly normal. You won't be judged. The trick is how you handle it. When you notice a thought pulling you away, did I leave the stove on? What's that ping? Pause for a breath. Label it silently, thinking or distracted, and then return to the task. No scolding, no moralizing, just a calm redirection. Each return rewires your brain. The very act of bringing attention back again and again is the strengthening exercise for focus. Think of it like reps in the gym. The return is the rep that builds the muscle. If the intrusive thought is persistent, jot it down quickly on a notepad, call John, buy milk, and immediately refocus. Offload the worry, then keep going. Step 5, repeat and expand. When the timer buzzes, stop. Take a 1 to 2 minute break. Stand, stretch, breathe. Celebrate the small win. You kept your promise. Now repeat. Do another 5-minute block. After 2 or 3 blocks, you'll often find momentum. One 5-minute sprint becomes a 15-minute flow. Over days and weeks, increase your target. 5, 10, 15, 25. Gradually expand the length of your focus sessions as your endurance improves. Sample progression plan. Day 1 to 3, 4 5-minute blocks with 2-minute breaks. Day 4 to 7, 2 5-minute plus 1 10-minute block. Week 2, aim for a 15-minute focus session once a day. This is progressive overload for attention. Small increases build stamina without trauma. Practical add-ons, short, high-value tips. Use a visible timer with a ticking or gentle sound. It creates a mild urgency that helps. Keep a single-page session log, task, time, what you accomplished. It turns tiny wins into proof. If noise is a problem, use white noise or headphones. If silence is a problem, low ambient music can help. Tie the 5-minute practice to an existing habit. After your morning coffee, do 2 5-minute sprints. This helps habit stacking. A short story to make it real. I coached a friend who had a mountain of work and zero willpower. He started by promising himself 5 minutes. First day, he read one paragraph. Next day, 2 paragraphs. After a week, he'd finished the introduction he'd been avoiding for months. The trick wasn't the 5 minutes themselves, it was that small wins erased the dread. Momentum followed. The work that once felt like a wall became a sequence of small, manageable steps. That's the power of micro commitments. Why this works? Science concise. This method works for 3 simple reasons. 1. Lowers resistance. 5 minutes is psychologically easy to start. Starting is the battle most of us lose. 2. Removes overwhelm. Specific micro goals chop big tasks into doable pieces. 3. Rewires attention. Repeated returns from distraction strengthen neural pathways, neuroplasticity. Each time you bring your attention back, you increase your brain's focus capacity. Also, small wins release tiny amounts of reward neurotransmitters. That feedback loop nudges you gently toward the next session. Quick recap and immediate challenge recap. 1. Set a 5-minute timer. 2. Choose one specific task. 3. Engage actively. Speaks like write, do. 4. Notice wandering, label it, return without judgment. 5. Pause, repeat, and slowly expand. Challenge. Right now, pause this video, set a 5-minute timer, pick one tiny task, and do it. That's all. Come back and tell me how it felt. Extra tools to supercharge focus. So, you've learned the 5-minute trick. But what if I told you there are simple tools, almost like focus boosters, that can multiply its effect? Think of them as little upgrades to your brain's environment, routine, and energy. Let's break them down. 1. Environment design. Focus doesn't just depend on your mind, it depends on the space around you. If your phone is buzzing within arm's reach, your attention is already divided. So put it out of sight, out of reach. Clear your desk. Only keep what you need for the task. It may sound obvious, but environment is half the battle. When your surroundings are clean and minimal, your brain has fewer excuses to wander. The Pomodoro technique. Here's a classic method. 25 minutes of work, followed by 5 minutes of rest. One Pomodoro cycle. Why it works? Because your brain loves sprints, not marathons. Those short breaks refresh your focus, preventing mental fatigue before it builds. Pro tip, if 25 feels too long, start with 15. You can always grow. 3. Breathing reset. Before you start a focus session, try this. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 6 to 8 seconds. Do that for 60 seconds. This tiny breathing ritual clears stress, signals safety to your nervous system, and primes your brain for clarity. It's like pressing a reset button before deep work. 4. Micro rewards. Here's the fun part. Reward yourself for completing each block. It could be a sip of your favorite tea, a quick stretch, a short walk, or even checking something off a list. These micro rewards release dopamine, your brain's feel-good chemical, which makes it more likely you'll want to repeat the habit tomorrow. Small celebrations build consistency. 5. Habit stacking. Finally, attach the 5-minute trick to something you already do every day. For example, after your morning coffee, sit for 5 minutes of focused work. Or before you check email, complete one block. By linking focus to existing routines, you automate discipline. It becomes less about willpower and more about rhythm. Recap and motivation. So remember, design your environment, use Pomodoro cycles, reset with a minute of breathing, celebrate small wins with micro rewards, and stack it onto habits you already have. Each of these tools makes the 5-minute trick not just easier, but almost automatic. And the best part, you don't have to use them all. Even 1 or 2 can transform how much you get done in a single day. Mindset shift. Here's something most people don't realize. Focus isn't about being perfect. It's not about sitting for hours without a single distraction or never letting your mind wander. Even world-class performers struggle with focus. Even top athletes, writers, and CEOs face distractions, fatigue, and mental clutter every day. What sets them apart isn't perfection, it's consistency. Every single time you practice 5 minutes of true focus, you're winning. Not just in that moment, but for your long-term mental stamina. These small wins compound. Minute by minute, day by day, your brain rewires itself for sustained attention. So the mindset shift is simple, but powerful. Don't measure yourself by hours or flawless concentration. Measure yourself by how often you commit, return, and grow. Each focused micro session builds the foundation for mastery. Focus is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with patience, repetition, and self compassion. Your goal isn't perfection. Your goal is progress, one small win at a time. Closing call to action. Let's wrap this up. The 5 minute trick works not because it's magical, but because it removes overwhelm, builds momentum, and rewires your brain for focus. Here's your challenge. Try it today, just 5 minutes. Pick one task, a page to read, a paragraph to write, a problem to solve, and give it your full attention. You'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish in such a short time. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what task will you try this on first? And if you know someone who struggles to focus, share this video with them. Give them the same tiny tool that could transform their day. Finally, if you want more practical strategies for productivity, focus, and self mastery, hit subscribe. We're building a toolkit for better habits, smarter work, and a stronger mind, one micro step at a time. Remember, focus isn't about perfection. It's about starting small, showing up consistently, and stacking wins. And once you do, there's no limit to what you can achieve.